Hi, it's Randy Ora. One of the most common things I hear from buyers looking with me here in Laguna Niguel is this: I don't want a cookie cutter house. And when they say that, I usually know exactly what they mean. They're not necessarily saying they dislike Laguna Niguel. They're not saying they dislike the location, the weather, the open space, the trails, the schools, or the overall lifestyle that we have here. What they usually mean is this: they don't want the same house repeated over and over again, one after another, with pink stucco and red tile roofs. And that very recognizable California Mediterranean style here is everywhere. And I get it. Laguna Niguel has a lot of that architecture because so much of the city grew rapidly during the mid to late 80s and into the early and mid 1990s. That was one of the biggest building booms in the city's history. And at that time, Mediterranean-inspired architecture was everywhere. Stucco exteriors, red tile roofs, arched entries, soft peach and beige color palettes. That was the look. And for some buyers, that is exactly what they want. It feels warm, familiar, classic Southern California. But for other buyers, they walk into that and say, this is not for me. So to the point of this video, it's simple. If you're one of those buyers who says, I hate pink stucco and red tile roofs, don't make the mistake of writing off Laguna Niguel completely. Because while Laguna Niguel definitely has a strong Mediterranean influence, it also has several pockets and neighborhoods that feel completely different. More East Coast, more Cape Cod, more traditional, sometimes more rustic, and in some areas, much less like the standard California Mediterranean home people are trying to avoid here. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I'm going to divide this into 4 basic price and lifestyle categories because depending upon your budget, your desired floor plan, and whether you want single level or 2-story living, there are several options in Laguna Niguel that don't feel like the stereotypical stucco and red tile roof neighborhoods. The first category is what I would call the more attainable range in Laguna Niguel. Generally homes that are mostly under $1 million. Now I want to be careful here because pricing changes, interest rate changes, inventory changes, and some of the homes may push above or below that number depending upon the condition, the size, location, and the upgrades. But in this first section, what I'm really talking about here are homes that give the buyers the opportunity to get into Laguna Niguel without necessarily buying into that heavy Mediterranean look. One neighborhood that immediately comes to mind is one that's called Camden Court. The Camden Court community has 3 monument entrances into a community that screams Cape Cod and New England with soft dove gray exteriors. All the homes do have 2-car garages. They're a mix of single level and 2-story floor plans, ranging from about 1,100 square feet on the small side to about 1,500 square feet, ranging in price most recently from $875,000 to $1,125,000, with an average dollar per square foot of about $718 per foot. Now the next neighborhood I want to introduce you to is also under $1 million. It's umbrellaed within the larger community known as Beacon Hill. Beacon Hill has many subdivisions ranging from entry level that we're going to be exploring now and luxury homes that I'm reserving for later in this video. You're going to want to stay tuned till the very end because I'm going to talk about 2 of my favorite communities in the entire city and luxury homes touching nearly $3.5 million. So be sure to stay tuned. There are several communities within Beacon Hill that are classified as condominiums that offer the ability to get into the highly desirable neighborhood, such as Beacon Hill, and still be under $1 million. This can be very interesting, and this price segment is perfect for first-time home buyers, downsizers, or people who simply want to get into Laguna Niguel without stretching to the upper price ranges while still avoiding that strong Mediterranean influence. Here comes Beacon Hill with a Cape Cod and New England feel all the way. The entry-level communities of Beacon Hill, of which there are several, such as Terraces, vistas, and sea watch, just to name a few, are Cape Cod influenced with a lot of siding, the soft dove gray exteriors, a lot of white picket fence. And the floor plans are either 1, 2, or 3 bedroom floor plans, ranging from the smallest at about 800 square feet for the 1 bedrooms to over 1,200 square feet for the 3 bedroom floor plans. Most have attached garages. Some of the smaller units and less expensive properties don't. With an average dollar per square foot of $715, prices have ranged most recently from about $565,000 to just slightly over $1 million for the largest, nicest homes. Now, another community in Laguna Niguel with homes ranging from the mid $1 million range to just about $2 million is Concord Hill. And that makes this category especially interesting in that these are generally 2-story homes, unlike the next group of homes that I'm going to show you in a similar price range, Niguel Hills and Pacesetter homes. Although similar in price, they're very different. They often have a very different feel from the classic Mediterranean tract-looking homes. They can have more traditional East Coast Cape Cod or colonial-inspired appearances, depending upon the specific home, the elevation, the color palette, and all the improvements made by the owners. Concord Hill also offers a very different visual feel from many of the more Mediterranean-style neighborhoods in Laguna Niguel. It gives buyers another option if they want a 2-story home now with characteristics and appeal that is not like anything else in the city. It's not Mediterranean whatsoever. These are Cape Cod inspired, very New England looking exteriors. Let's take a look. As we transition to the neighborhood of Concord Hill, these are now single family detached homes, a few single level, but for the most part 2-story homes, with a theme of Cape Cod and New England continuing with, again, soft dove gray exteriors, a lot of white trim, gorgeous landscape, a mature neighborhood that I really enjoy when I'm showing property here. The floor plans range from 3 to 4 bedroom floor plans, 1,500 to a little over 2,000 square feet, with most recent sales between 1.3 million and 1.5. Our next group of homes that we're going to take a look at is really interesting because it may fall into a similar price range as the one I just spoke of, but the lifestyle is completely different. In this section, I'm going to be talking about single level homes for the most part, and 2 communities that immediately come to mind are Niguel Hills and the Pacesetter homes. These areas are important because there's actually a very good supply of single level homes in these neighborhoods, unlike the rest of Laguna Niguel. And they are radically different from the 2-story homes in places like Concord Hill that I just spoke of, although they're similar in price. Keep in mind, as I show you these examples of Pacesetter homes and the Niguel Hills homes, many in these communities have been reimagined and are now 2-story homes, especially in the Pacesetters. For buyers who want Laguna Niguel but do not want a Mediterranean-style home and also do not want stairs, Niguel Hills and most of the Pacesetters can be very interesting and very compelling. A lot of these homes were built in the earlier era, the mid to late 60s, so the architecture can feel much more traditional, simpler, and less tied to the Mediterranean trend that became so common in the mid 80s to the late 90s when that construction boom was going on in Laguna Niguel. Homes in the Niguel Hills community, for the most part, have remained single level, although many of the homeowners have renovated a lot of the homes throughout the community, and some of them are absolutely stunning. The neighborhood does stay consistent with pride of ownership throughout. Lots of lush landscaping, beautiful exteriors. We've definitely gotten away from the Cape Cod and New England look, but traveled into a very, I would describe it as just an all-American traditional home style. And as we get into the Pacesetter homes, you're going to see that remodeling continued and renovation has run rampant throughout the community, with a lot of the floor plans being renovated to 2-story homes. Prices in the Pacesetters range from about $1.3 million to almost $3 million, while the Niguel Hills homes have stayed a little bit more modest, from about $1.3 million to about $1.8 million, although there have been some homes that have exceeded 1.7 and 1.8 and have stretched into the low $2 million price range. And now I want to take you to another area of luxury homes, which is one of my favorites, known as San Marin. San Marin does have a hint of Mediterranean influence throughout the community. I would say about half of the homes do have some stucco and some tile roofs. However, a huge percentage of the homes in San Marin drift completely away from the Mediterranean theme, with heavy use of stone, brick, and siding that gives it a very traditional, almost New England Cape Cod look throughout. Let's take a look at the homes in San Marin, one of my favorites. I think one of the reasons I like this neighborhood so much is as you drive through, you cannot miss the pride of ownership with lush landscape, beautifully maintained exteriors, not a strong Cape Cod New England feel, nor is it Mediterranean. You'll see some stucco, but for the most part, extensive use of brick, siding, some stonework, and the homes are just stunning. It's one of my favorite communities. Price range from about 2.1 to about 2.9 million. There was an outlier, about 3.5 million, but that is an exception. These homes are simply gorgeous. And to round out our collection of luxury homes, we come back to Beacon Hill, but at a much higher price range than earlier. You'll also begin to see homes that have been extensively remodeled, reimagined, or customized into something much more custom, well within the Cape Cod-inspired design. Some homeowners have changed the feel of their properties with new exterior colors, new windows, new garage doors, updated landscaping, stone accents, wood details, black framed windows, or more modern roofs and treatments that are beyond imagination. At this price level, buyers often have more opportunity to find a home that doesn't feel like a standard tract home. Or they may find a home with the right location and floor plan that can be transformed into exactly what they want. Let's take a look at the homes in Beacon Hill. These very traditional and Cape Cod style homes in the community of Beacon Hill are highly sought after homes. They range in size from about 2,300 square feet to over 3,300 square feet, most of them 4 or 5 bedroom floor plans. The average dollar per square foot is probably one of the highest in the city at $915 on average, with a pretty tight range of $800 to $1,000 per square foot, as most of the homes show exceptionally well and very similar. Recent sales have been between 2.2 and over $3 million, with a record sale of over 3.2 million. These homes are absolutely stunning and a very sought after community within Laguna Niguel. So here's the takeaway. If you've been looking at Laguna Niguel and thinking, I just don't want one of those pink stucco and red tile roofs, I completely understand. But don't assume that means Laguna Niguel is not for you. The city has far more variety than most buyers realize. Yes, Mediterranean architecture is a major part of the city's history, especially because the building boom in the 80s and the 90s unfolded many of Mediterranean-style homes. But tucked within Laguna Niguel are neighborhoods and pockets that offer a different look, a different feel, and a different lifestyle. Some homes are more affordable, some are two-story traditional homes, some are single-level ranch-style homes in established neighborhoods, and some are higher-end properties that either have been beautifully transformed or have potential to become something completely different and something very special. And that's why it's so important to work with somebody who knows Laguna Niguel street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood, and not just what shows up in the multiple listing service online. Because two homes in the same city, sometimes even in the same general price range, can feel completely different. One may feel like a classic 1990s Mediterranean home. Another may feel more East Coast, more Cape Cod, more ranch style, more traditional, more modern coastal. And if you're the kind of buyer who wants Laguna Niguel but doesn't want the cookie cutter Mediterranean home, there are definitely options here. You just need to know where to look and how to find them. I'm Randy Orr with Berkshire Hathaway, changing lives one home at a time.